We are recording now. And on this record, that's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 5 of It's That One podcast. I am your host, Shane, and I am excited for today's episode. As you can see, we'll be talking about leadership versus management. I'd like to start out with thanking my sponsors, Hot Smoke Barbecue on Instagram. I am also a Maker's Mark ambassador. I cannot wait until 2027 when my own barrel of whiskey is done brewing. And a big shout out to Mary Jane's CBD dispensary. That's what you'll see me using tonight on stream, and if you guys watch this in the future. I'm gonna start this episode off a little different than I've started off my past episodes by sharing some of my favorite quotes. You manage things, you lead people. And that's gonna be from Admiral Grace Murray Hopper of the Navy. Leadership is influence by John C. Maxwell. Leaders are not born, they are made. And they are made just like anything else through hard work. And that is the price we will all have to pay to achieve that goal or any goal. And that's Vince Lombardi. The final test of a leader is that he leaves behind him and other men the conviction and the will to carry on. Walter Lippmann. And my absolute favorite is Earn Your Leadership Every Day by the one and only GOAT, Michael Jordan. So, with us today, I have two people that I consider family, like dear to my heart. Like my circle is so small and they're in it. Um, so without further ado, let me find my button. This is Savannah and Cody Delph. They are the owners of Ivy and Grace Boutique, but more importantly, they are family. So if you guys would like to give your a little brief introduction.
Hi guys, my name is Cody Delph. I am what am I, babe? My vice president,
Something like that.
vice president of relations to Ivy and Grace Brow Boutique, located in Lexington and Danville, Kentucky. And this is my fiance Savannah.
I'm Savannah, and I'm the owner of Ivy and Grace Brown Boutique, and we've been in business for about a year now. So we're opening our second location in Danville, Kentucky, and
Oh,
that's it.
okay. So, obviously I know you guys very well, but for everybody out there, like, what do you do at Ivy and Grace before we kind of hop into this? Because I think what you do and what you guys do is really going to translate into this episode.
So at Ivy and Grace, we offer facials, we offer permanent makeup services, and semi-permanent brow services. So we got facials, we have brow laminations, we have microblading, um, pretty much everything self-care wise. That's what we have to offer.
Nice. So it's really like your passion is like going to be like just like self care, right?
Yes.
Awesome. And today you had an opportunity to be on like a local news for Lexington.
Yes.
So that's probably pretty exciting as a small business owner.
Super exciting. Yeah, we got to share everything that we offer, and it was definitely a new experience. It was just
Yeah, it was so we had never been in the spotlight for something like this because it's our first time doing anything like this. So Savannah started back in August, and what she had actually done was she was working at a salon pre-COVID, and then once COVID started, spreading everywhere, we went on lockdown here in Kentucky, and so she started to draw unemployment, right? And me being a funeral director, I actually was working full time throughout the whole pandemic. So we were kind of able to rely on my income and allow her to get those unemployments and the stimulus and she decided instead of going and buying Gucci bags and Prada, that she was going to invest into, her future.
Yeah,
And that's kind of how the whole thing came about.
yeah, that's that in itself is just kind of shows kind of like, you know, characteristics of a person, and um kind of just being your own leader and going out and making choices that really make sense, especially for you guys as a family. And you know, I've been to your guys' home. You guys have a beautiful home, but it's not like show offy beautiful. You know what I mean? It's like you guys show that you
Very
work.
comfortable.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's just not necessarily refined, but it's like, you know, just it's not bougie, I guess, is like an easy word for me. Like you just feel like, you know, hey, I worked hard for this, but you're not showing it off. But you guys, you know, you guys could easily show it off. Um,
Yeah.
I think I texted you today, Delph, and said that I think that you guys are going to be $1 million company.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I know.
I will receive that first and foremost. I will receive that.
Yeah, you know, I honestly think that, you know, we've been talking a lot here in the last honestly the last 2 weeks. I've been more motivated than ever with this podcast, with the NFT that I'm dropping. With me, you know, when I'm going to school for social management and strategy, and I love this. It's like a passion, and me and you have been really just talking a lot about this. And dude, I didn't know what Savannah did like until like I was at your house a couple months ago, and now like just seeing it and seeing her passion for it and seeing your passion for supporting her, and you want to stop what you do to be there and work for her, dude. That shit's fucking legit. Oh, and by the way, you guys can cuss during this podcast, and if you're listening to this and you don't like people cussing, go watch Joe Rogan's podcast. So thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm excited. This is the second time I have some guest hosts, so we'll see how this one goes. So you texted me today, Cody, and you said, hey, you know, talking about doing the 16 personalities, and I don't know where you pulled that from. Like, me and you had a conversation, and I actually had it in my notes, but I didn't even think that I was like, fuck, that's a good idea. Let's add that in here, because your personality results really tell you about yourself. So I'll go ahead and I'll start off and talk about mine, and then I'd love to hear what your guys's are. So my result is, you guys can see, I am a campaigner, which is a ENFP-A. More like to bring it all the way down is an assertive campaigner, a diplomat, and a people mastery. Hey, I have it actually pulled up. Let's see, what am I looking for here? It's like really basically just like really talks about how like really, oh no, I want to go to strengths and weaknesses. About me as a person. Like I had to take this for class, and I was like, ah, man, I hate, like, you know, I always feel like every girl I'm with, like, take this personality test and see what you are. And I'm like, stop.
What's your sign?
Yeah, but no, so I really believe in the signs thing, but I was like, let me do this, you know what I mean? And my teacher straight up told me what I was gonna be, and to a T, she was right. She said every single one of those things. And I was like, shit. But it talks about being curious, like, you know, new ideas, and I'm very curious about things. Observant. Not a lot goes on around me that I don't see, even if I don't talk about it. Energetic and enthusiastic. Excellent communicators. I love to speak. Honestly, I love the sound of my own voice. Know how to relax. I like to chill and have a good time. Very popular and friendly. I wouldn't say like I'm super popular, but I feel as I do hang out with like many people and talk to many people. So which one of you go first? I would say probably ladies first is probably the rule here.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm a protagonist. I have no idea what those letters mean. ENFJ-A. Do you have any idea?
You know, I'm not sure on the letters.
Well, I'm glad that's one good thing.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the letters. I just kind of read the information about myself. Yeah,
I think it's Hebrew.
could be. It could be.
This says that I am good at being a leader. What else?
That's good. That's what the podcast is.
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
You're
good.
on the right podcast right now.
yeah. Couldn't have fucking planned that one better, eh?
You're in the right place at the right time, as our pastor says.
workplace habits. Let's go to introduction.
Yeah, I
Yes.
really want to. I really like to see strengths and weakness, and probably honestly like workplace habits. Oh, I didn't talk.
Okay.
I didn't talk about my weaknesses. Let me hit this real quick. I didn't even see that, and I don't want to just pipe myself without saying my bad things. Poor practical skills. I sometimes have this stupid fucking logic when it comes to shit, and it makes sense in my head, and I'll do it my way, and then people will be like, "Why did you do that?" Like Creed's mom would be like, "That's the most unpractical, like not logical thing." So it's bad. Find it difficult to focus. I don't actually have a difficult time focusing as long as I like passionate and I like it. Overthink things, absolutely. I will literally make a mountain out of a molehill. Get stressed easily, it just depends. Highly emotional, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'll be scrolling TikTok and crying sometimes. And independent to a fault. I don't think I'm very. I am independent. I can be independent, and that's just how my mom kind of raised me. But I love being on a team. I would rather have a team surrounding me than be doing like something like this by myself. If I could have a co-host every episode, I would rather do that. But I'm okay with doing it by myself. But if I could have a team, and we'll get in that later on, then I would love that. But okay, Savannah, let's see what you got.
Strengths and weaknesses. I'm tolerant. So I guess it says that I'm a true team player. Do you feel like I'm a true team player?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely hold your own.
I'm reliable.
You play well with others.
To make me sound like a child.
Those are my blocks.
I'm reliable. I know I'm reliable. Charismatic. Says let's see. I'm popular. But I don't have friends, so I don't really know how that works.
Well, like, okay, so for charismatic, like that's
Mhm.
not one that I see from you at home,
Right.
because that's the guards down at home.
Mhm.
But when I go to work with you, like you put it on, like there's a charm to you,
Mhm.
there's a charisma to you, and like people vibe off that.
Yeah, I feel that. I get that. Let's see. What is that?
What? Altruistic
Yeah, I've never heard that word before.
means you can just bring people together.
Yeah,
I feel like I did that.
Yeah.
it's a pretty good solid leader quote.
Mm-hmm.
Like a leader, whatever strength.
My weaknesses, I'm overly idealistic. Let's see. Caught off guard as they find that through circumstance or nature or simple misunderstanding, people fight against them and defy the principles they've adopted. They are more likely to feel pity for this opposition than anger. Trying to think of how that.
Just to go to the
Trying
time for diagnosis.
trying to go. Too selfless. Let's see. Bury themselves in hopeful promises. I'm too sensitive. I'm definitely too sensitive. I take everything to heart.
Very sensitive.
Like at work, if my client is just has a bad vibe, I take it to heart. I really
You think
do.
it's you?
I think it's me. I'm like, it's something
Yeah.
I did. It's something I said.
I'm actually
I can have a
surprised.
bad day at work.
I'll
She thinks
freaking
it's her.
cry on the way home. I'll be like, what the hell did I do wrong?
And it's two things. Real quick, if anybody listening to this podcast, we haven't had anything happen live. If you guys hear any crazy noises like Shane O'Mac, Here Comes the Money, I actually am streaming live on Twitch as well, just so everybody knows. Listening to this podcast, if you hear anything crazy. But also, like, I feel that though. Like, I feel like sometimes vibes and energy like that you get off of people, well, can really, like, if you really believe in that stuff and you really just take it, how someone is around you, you can feel that shit. Like, you can.
Mhm.
And it gets me sometimes.
It's hard not to believe in it when you can viscerally feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a thing. What else you got?
Fluctuating self-esteem. I definitely feel that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I think honestly that's a lot of. I think that's anybody though. Like, I'd say
Yeah.
good majority of people probably have like days where they're just like, man, I feel like the best person on earth. I look the best. I feel the best. Sometimes you could be looking the best and feeling the best, and you just don't feel that.
Hmm.
Well, today she looked the best, felt the best, and we got hit that, hey, we'd like to interview you guys, and so the nerves were on, and it was nerves all the way up to it. And when the guy actually pulled into the parking lot, like I got nervous, and I was like, oh God, here we go. But as soon as the camera turned on and he started asking her questions, like she was in the zone.
Yeah, and
But as soon as the camera goes off, she's like, "Oh my God, how did I?" It was the self-esteem thing comes in there, the
yeah.
insecurities start creeping in.
Well, and we'll get to that a little bit later because there's some things like good things I noticed in that video, that I was like, okay, and I could just see it, in just that brief little time. I was like, okay, cool. But I like. So, what was your main title called? What were you?
Protagonist.
A protagonist?
Hmm.
Okay. So,
Read that last one there.
Yeah, that last one is struggle to make tough decisions, and I feel that literally in my soul. I will sit on a decision for like a week if I can, down to like the very moment until I have to make it.
yeah, I could imagine that could be like probably a big stressor in y'all's relationship. It's like just decision making. But I think, uh I've been there. And sometimes it's hard to make certain decisions. And then when you're on that like waiting end of that decision from the other person and you don't know what they're thinking about, you're just like, "Oh, fuck." But
Yeah.
okay. All right, Cody, what you got? What do you? Let's get to you.
Well, I kind of messed up, y'all. Like I didn't get this page that y'all are getting. So let's look it up. So okay, so I am EMFPT, which was the entertainer one.
Okay. Okay.
Which kind of I was like, if that fits me. But the more I read, I was like, okay, like yeah, I definitely have elements of this and I have elements of that. So maybe this is where I categorize into it.
Yeah.
But then again, I do have personality disorder, so it might be different on a different day.
Yeah.
Something different
Um,
tomorrow.
I've done this test, I think 4 or 5 times, and I've got the same thing every time. And I don't try to change my answers. I just take it. You know what I mean? Like it's my first time every time.
Is that right?
I think it's pretty spot on as far as like a majority of you as a person. I don't fully know what your all yours is, but I would say
Go ahead.
I would say that mine's pretty spot on with me.
Yeah. Well, so this is the first time I'm seeing this, so I apologize to the stream. But for my strengths and weaknesses, it's listed as follows: bold, original, aesthetics and showmanship.
Oh man, that's you right there to a T, baby.
Yeah, it says not stopping at mere outfits. Entertainers inject artistic creativity into their words and actions too. Every day is a performance, and entertainers love to put on a show. Practical, observant. I am probably the most observant person I know, other than my uncle Clyde. Excellent people skills. I agree with all of those.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now. If y'all seeing this video right now and you guys are watching it, you guys watch it live, you guys watch whatever on YouTube or wherever this ends up. This man right here wearing this white T-shirt. This is what he looks like at home. But you see this man, out in public, and you want to be like, why ain't Gucci sponsoring this man's?
They used to call me Fresh to Delph.
Fresh to Delph. Trademark it, baby. Trademark it.
So my weaknesses are sensitive, conflict averse, which means sometimes ignore and avoid conflict entirely. I would say there's some truth to that.
Yeah. You ain't seen yourself drunk.
It says easily bored. I would certainly agree to that. Poor long-term planning, unfocused. Yeah. So those are all very true to my life. I can certainly admit to that.
Yeah.
Without fault.
I think that's a big key is to be able to know that you have your weaknesses though, and you can bring them out and say them. I'm glad we did that though. It kind of you learned a lot about yourself. Lost my mouse. Um,
Yeah, so actually, you had sent a video in Signal. It was like one of those quick videos of kind of your notes.
yeah.
And I went through and I paused it to read them. And I saw that you had brought up the personality test on there. And I was like, man, that might be a really good side note to step into and just kind of see where we're all at as far as leadership personalities.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I didn't know that I actually had it in there, but I'm glad that you re-brought it up. But yeah, thank you guys for doing that. I mean, so pretty awesome. So we're gonna talk about the definition of leadership and manager. So leadership is the action of leading a group of people or an organization, and a manager is a person responsible for controlling or administrating all or part of a company or similar organization. So if you're listening to this right now, and for you too as well, I want you to sit back right now, just kind of pause this if you're listening to it. If you guys are live, just do it along with me. And I want you to think about someone that's been either a manager or a leader that you've had in the past, or maybe you currently have. What qualities do they possess that make them good or bad? I'll go first because I'm kind of a little bit more prepared for this. Give you guys kind of time to think about it. Um, Background for me, I was in the military for 7 years. I was a leader very young in my career and all the way through until the end of my career. I was a non-commissioned officer as a sergeant. I had a lot of soldiers under me as a corporal, as a specialist, but as a sergeant was my biggest thing. I pride myself for doing that. I was an instructor for law enforcement and other things while I was in the military. And what made me um, the leader that I was, and what really has made me think about this podcast, even before I even really decided I wanted to do this was a podcast, is I had, when I got in the military, some of the worst leaders that I could possibly even fathom in my head. But I also had some that were just great. And then I think about the times where I worked at other places before the military, and just like and managers that I had, and I'm like, I don't want to be that person when I get in the outside world. So when I first got out of the army and I started working again before I started school, I was offered a site manager position uh, for one of the biggest car washes here in Savannah, Georgia. And I got there and I just seen how things were ran. I'm like, this is why things are being ran poorly, because you have someone trying to manage these people instead of lead these people. And for me, like qualities that a manager possesses that are bad is just like talking to a human as they are a number or an object. And that's kind of how you get bad leaders in the leaders, we'll use air quotes there, in the military, is that they're only out for themselves. They want you to do for them to make their reports look good, or their evals look good, and they don't look at it as what's a whole for the organization or the specific goal in mind. But I think the quality that we're going to talk about that makes someone a good leader, and when I say leader, it doesn't necessarily have to mean at a role at a job. It could be a leader at your church. It could be a leader at your sports team that you're on, whether maybe you compete professionally, semi-pro, for a rec league. You should always have a leader somewhere. There should always be a leader. So it can be a leader anywhere. You could be a good leader or a bad leader. But for me, a quality that I really admired in my leadership that was like outstanding was just positive, good, clear communication, and just like that assurance that like I got your back, and like genuinely I knew they had my back. But I'd like to hear what you guys, you guys have both been in the workforce. Um, what are your guys' experience with either good or bad leaders? Something, maybe someone that stuck out in a good way or a bad way that you just like that. And I asked this question to you guys now, and it's just, this is coming to me. I love the fact that you guys are looking for people to hire, because now it gets to ask me that question, like, what kind of person are you going to be to your employees? Do you think you're going to be more of a leader or a manager?
I mean, I personally feel like the previous places that I've worked, um, I've had, managers, and they've been pretty much everything that I would not want to be. So I've learned from that. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, good getting good leaders in your life?
I mean, I've had some pretty good leaders. Definitely people who want to help you advance. And I feel like at previous places, they didn't really care to help you advance. They were kind of just in a job for the job,
Yeah.
just just kind of existed and getting by. Um, so I feel like that reflects in my leadership because the people who I've brought on as a team, like I train them and I want them to succeed
Yep.
just because I didn't really have that opportunity when I was elsewhere. So,
Yeah, and I think you made a good point about like you being a better leader because of the bad you had, and that's honestly what made me a better leader. Of course, learning from the good leadership that I had really helped me develop myself. But honestly, what developed me was seeing these people just always in this cycle, leader after leader just doing the shitty things, and then they're like, well, why are you getting out of the military, or why are your soldiers doing this? And it's like, dude, you developed me to be like this, so yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to be this way. And I think that's with anything. Like, people talk about, like, this is a crazy, off the wall example a little bit, like a pit bull being aggressive. No, you trained a pit bull to be aggressive, just like
Right.
people are like, listen, I would never work at fast food again, just where I'm at in my life. But imagine McDonald's versus Chick-fil-A. They're like managers, or their shift leaders, and their store managers, their store leaders, whatever, are so much better and so much happier because they're taught leadership. Like, Chick-fil-A has a leadership development program for their management.
Well,
McDonald's,
that kind of comes back into something that you said earlier, is that if you look at those two corporations, one of them is a role and the other is a lifestyle. So you have the role or title of manager, but that does not necessarily make you a leader. That just makes you the most qualified for that said position. Doesn't mean you have any leadership skills, though. And then you take a corporation like the chicken factory, we'll call it, and Chick-fil-A. They they look for leaders to promote into that kind of position. And it's the same with I just listened to Theo Vaughn podcast with the owner, the president of Raising Cane's, and he made a big statement, is that they they lead with reassurance, and that's how the whole team is brought up. And every team leader goes to like a yearly conference where they're taught how to diffuse situations and handle things appropriately, and communicate properly. And so there's a big difference in those corporations, but there is a such thing as title versus actual skill itself.
yeah, I agree with you. But so many people, though, they'll get into like a manager position, and they'll be like, like they'll call themselves a leader, and I'm like, you don't even know
That's
the.
ego.
Yeah, it's ego, it's ego fed. So I've read a lot of books. One of my favorites is by Simon Stank or something. I don't even know how to say his last name, but it's called Leaders Eat Last, and he talks about 10 characteristics of a good leader, and I'd like to share those with you guys. Integrity, ability to delegate, communication, self-awareness, gratitude, learning agility, influence, empathy, courage, and respect. Um, and all of those, like, I can't even put them in like an order of like what I really think is most important. Um, but two of them that I really, really, besides like the obvious ones that people would go to respect first, or integrity first. But my two favorite is ability to delegate and self-awareness. And a lot of people, that's where like you really can tell if someone's a manager or a leader, because for me, like, the ability to delegate is like, hey, I'm asking you or telling you to go do this, and I'm going to show you how to do it first, especially if it's my first or second time. I can't have you do something that I'm not willing to do or have done. And then self-awareness is like, I need to know that if I'm doing something wrong or like not right, like, I need to address myself and be like, hey, step back and fix yourself. Before you can't fix anybody else or lead somebody else if you're not right, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So out of those 10, what really sticks out to you like is in your most important quality?
Read them off one more time to refresh us.
Yeah, no,
You
no,
got it in front.
no, yeah, of course. That's why, integrity, ability to delegate, communication, self awareness, gratitude, learning agility, influence, empathy, courage, and respect.
What was the learning one?
Learning agility.
Yes. Okay. For me, two that you said. One was learning agility,
Okay.
and then can you start from the top? And it's only like three down, I think, and I'll stop you.
Communication, gratitude.
Yes. All right. Communication and learning agility.
Okay.
Those are two big ones for me because I know, like, I'm not so personally in my current position at work, I'm not in a position of leadership, but I know that I possess those skills.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if I'm like trying to help somebody, I'm coming from that place no matter what, because that's naturally who I am. And so for me, learning agility and communication are the two biggest things because if you don't know it, but you can understand what I'm saying to you or what I'm explaining to you, then through communication and through learning agility, you'll pick it up and we'll be progressing forward. So those are two that stick out to me.
Okay, I feel like definitely communication.
Okay.
Communication, I think, is like the biggest one for me. Um, like you don't have anything without communication. Like if we're on the same page, I feel like we're good.
If you're not on the same
If
page,
you're
you're
not
good.
on, yeah. And then,
You can communicate.
right, exactly. And then courage. I think that's very important as a leader. There's been a lot of times where a lot of people were, like, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to do that. But if you're courageous and you just go for it,
I can do it.
mm-hmm,
I'm gonna do it.
right.
Watch me go.
Yeah, that's funny that you picked that one because that's what I was talking about earlier with what I saw on the on the interview you did on the news. I could just see like the like you just dug somewhere and you were just like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking do this shit. Like, what is the worst that's gonna happen? You know,
Mhm.
I could see that
Yeah.
you were just boom. But I could see like the gratitude though on your face as well. That like you were just like so thankful that you were there, and then I could just see it in your eyes that you were like, you know what, like I'm nervous as fuck right now, but this is my livelihood and I fucking love this shit. So let me just go out here and kill it. And I seen that shit. And I was just like, what did I text you? What did I text you? What did I say? Let me see. Like I know I said like I was just like when he showed that to me, I said, bro, to the fucking moon. To the fucking moon. Listen, I'm gonna say it here right now, June 17th, 2021, 9:57 p.m. 33 minutes and 31 seconds into this podcast. Ivy and Grace Boutique will be a $1 million company in the next 5 years or less.
Brow Boutique.
I want 5% of stocks when you guys hit the stock market.
We all do. So, leadership skills that came out today for us. That was not how our day was supposed to go at all. We were laying in bed last night and I was scrolling through the news and I saw, um, a worker shortage, which the whole nation's going through right now.
Yep.
I'm not exactly sure what it is, but that's why I was looking at this article to see if they had any insights as to what was really going on. Why is there a worker shortage? And at the bottom, it was like, if you know of a business that's hiring, please send us an email. So, like, I sent her the email. She emailed them, and today was her day off. She had kids. I was at work, and she texted me at like 9:15 this morning and was like, somebody just called from the news. And so I called him back, and he's like, yeah. So I was just kind of wanting to ask a couple of questions if you're available for an interview today. I could just come in and set the camera up and run through a couple of questions with you. And I was like, that was not her day. Like I knew she was home on the couch in her pajamas because we were texting back and forth.
Yeah.
There was a man,
Well, it's funny.
and so I was like, look, like I try to come from a place of motivation, and I think it's my strongest point about me. I don't know if that's true. There might be some defects in there, but I'm like, this has the potential to really do everything that you've created in the last year a great justice. And it's vindication, it's verification. Everything's working, like everything is lining up right now. The energy is there. Go fucking do it. Fucking put the kids at the babysitters today.
Yeah.
Like, know it's going to cost us, but this might pay off tenfold in the future. Go fucking do it.
Yeah, it was you called me and you said, "Hey man, I just like want to thank you for the energy that you've been giving me, this past couple of
Mhm.
weeks." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, no problem." You're like, "Yeah, man." And you kind of told me the story of how it went down and I was like, "Fuck yeah." Like hell yeah, dude. Like we
I'm
just
like doing laps in the parking lot. Like,
yeah, like I went and told Ashley, I was like, "Oh shit," and it's like fucking, me and you spent what a couple hours the other morning, just kind of doing some marketing stuff and really trying to figure this out. And then
yeah,
that's a huge opportunity for you guys. Whether you hire anybody or not, God knows probably like what's the population of Lexington? Pretty big number, yeah. Or that
I
that
think
new
it's like 1.5 million, but it fluctuates because of the college. I'm not really.
yeah,
That's a good question.
but
Let's
like
look that up.
that news probably goes around to I'd say 1 million homes, give or take. Now,
Yeah, so they even wrote up an article on their on the website.
yeah,
So they did the video story at 4:30 today, but then the story up is up right now in text form on the website, and that's crazy. So Fayette County, Kentucky has 323,152 residents, but I'm sure that changes all the time because the university's there.
well, and it probably
I
it,
could
it
be wrong.
probably the news probably goes out a little further than like Metro Lexington too.
Oh, certainly, yeah. WKYT serves the eastern part of Kentucky.
Yeah, I looked as soon as
Mhm.
as soon as I seen that, I went straight to their Instagram and just seen what their Instagram was looking like. They got 65,000 followers on Instagram. It's huge. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, you looked at this earlier too, didn't
I
you?
did.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, of course, that's a smart move. You should automatically have went and followed them on Instagram. You should 100% reach out and send them an email saying thank you for that opportunity. Uh, I would say thank you for
Done, done.
yeah. I would yeah. I mean, I'm sure you guys you guys are fucking killing it. Um,
I mean, we're just uh, so when you say killing it, it's like
no, it's
people
passion.
think
It's passion though.
people think financially we're killing it, right? And it's like, no, we're in the grind right now. Like this
You're
is I haven't
bootstrapping.
been
You're
excited.
bootstrapping.
I haven't been excited for you in a long time. Like,
Yeah, and you
I
told me
mean,
that the other day.
we're
You
just,
said,
yeah.
not to dive into like personal stuff, but you told me you said, "Man, I haven't felt like this in a long time and I like it. I like this
Mhm.
motivation. I like this grit. I like this digging in." And that's why I think everybody kind of needs that like push you down on the knee type situation and be like, "Hey, motherfucker, sit down," you know? Uh
Yeah.
and
I get afraid that I'm going manic because that's something that I have dealt with my whole life is I go through manic cycles and depressive cycles.
yeah.
But I was like taking inventory today and I was like, okay, the depression's not there, but my manic behaviors aren't there either. Like I think that I'm just reaching a new level within myself. Like I've got clarity, I've
Yeah.
got motivation, my thoughts are flowing. Like
Mhm.
they're through the roof right now. And that's what kind of why I called you this morning. I called my pastor this morning too, and I was like, I'm being really cautious of who I'm giving my energy to right now because I don't want anything to affect where I'm at right now. Like I'm in a really good headspace, and I just don't want any negative affliction to that at the moment. Like we have enough going on in the struggle of starting everything that it's like I'm okay with the struggle and the uncomfortability of that, but I don't need anything else at the moment.
Yeah. No, I
If
agree.
somebody dies, tell me next week.
Yeah. Like I'm trying to grind right now, boys. Yep. No, and I think I think what you're saying about as far as like you feeling the way you did before, you're feeling probably the same kind of feelings, but it's like a good feeling. Like you're feeling that good anxiety, and it's not like that crippling. It's like not crippling. Like you're like
Yeah.
it's like the unknown, but it's like you're thinking of the positive unknown. Always the negative. You always got to be a realist and think about some things that could happen, but like I said, 7 minutes ago, $1 million company in 5 years. Easy.
Yeah, and it's like you know that it's the unknown. So this kind of anxiety, you know it's the unknown, but you know that you have the potential to change or to alter the outcome to whatever you want it to be.
Yep.
Versus a crippling anxiety, you're literally sitting there worried and you don't know what you're exactly worried about or how to change what you're worried about or anything of that nature. So it's definitely still uncomfortable,
Mhm.
but it's a good uncomfortable. It's a progress uncomfortable. It's a growing uncomfortability.
Who just followed me? Lost Dagger. I just got a follow. I was like, who is this watching my podcast? Lost Dagger, thank you for that follow here on Twitch. We are live recording episode 5 of that one podcast, Leadership versus Management. I have the Delphs with me here, and we are just vibing out and talking and just relaxing. So with that being said, there are many different types of leaderships. And I was doing some research for this podcast because I didn't want to come on here and sound like ridiculous. These are the 3 most common that I found, and this is what they are: authoritarian or autocratic, which is basically do what I say when I say it; democratic, which is a collaborative approach. And this is in French, and I'm gonna fucking murder this. And if you listen to this and you're French, I do apologize. But laissez-faire, translated from French, means leave alone, which is the step back approach.
So sounded good. That's probably better than I could have pronunciated it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of CBD products have been working wonders for my life. If you guys need any great CBD products and you're listening to this, Mary Jane's CBD dispensary. We're located in about 5 states. We have 12 stores, and you can order online. And if you know me personally and you hear this podcast, shoot me a DM on wherever you hear this, and I will get you 30% off. Just use code Shane. Back to the program. Oh man, I killed that. Like I always imagine doing that like Logan fucking Paul does that shit and going back into it, and I freaking did it. Clip that shit. What time is this? Where's this at? Okay, let me write this down. I'll be writing down clip times. Beauty
Yeah,
of.
that was really good.
Yeah, man. Cannabis is a wonderful thing.
We have a CBD store here, and they sell really good products too. It's called Hometown Heroes in Danville. They have great products.
Yeah. Is that the?
I mean, I love the era that we're in right now with all of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's medicine. It really is.
Oh yeah.
Like
But,
we had a Delta 8 joint earlier, right? And it's just chill. It's just a nice nightcap.
hell yeah, clear-headed, bro. To the moon. But so the different styles of leadership. I think I'm more like democratic leave alone style. I'd say I'm a mix of those. When I was in the military, I sometimes had to be like autocratic, like do this shit now. But I definitely think I'm more like, especially nowadays when I work with people, I'm definitely like pretty heavy democratic. I like to collab and I like kind of see what your ideas are. I still might be like, we're gonna do it this way, but if you give me a good idea, I'm not gonna shit on you. And then sometimes I'm just like, hey, this is what we need to do. I hate micromanaging people, so I'm gonna let you do what you got to do. So out of those 3, and I'll read them again. Autocratic, which is like do it now when I say. Democratic, which is like you guys know what Democrats mean. I don't want to do that. And then laissez-faire, leave alone, the step back approach. What do you guys think about those?
You do it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I want to hear you.
You want to hear me?
I want to hear yours.
You want to hear what I am?
Yeah.
I'm an autocratic. Yeah.
And which one's that one? The
Do what I say and do it now.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
But I feel like the perfect blend is situational and knowing all three. I think having all three in your arsenal and using all three is the cloud approach, right? It's having all of it all together. But I would certainly say that I tend to be more autocratic
Mhm.
in my day to day actions. I'm
You,
very short fused.
and there's nothing, and I like how you say, all, and there's way more than just these three, but these are the most three common ones that you'll see in most people. And I could say that I'm a mixture in all three. Nowadays, like I said though, one I don't really have to worry about one too much. I'm really trying to work for myself one day anyway, so one doesn't really apply in my life goals. Um,
What do you think?
I if I had to guess what Savannah would be, I think that Savannah, just from
Is the
how
French one?
I think she's the no, I think she would be the leave alone. I think she would just let the person know like, hey, this is what needs done. She's already shown them, and I think in her field that it's like you don't got to. It's a creative field. It's like a passion field. There's gonna be like a outline of how to do things, but there's gonna be a little like I can do it different ways, but as long as it gets done right. So I think she would be the step back away. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
You did have like no, I'm not gonna say an issue, but like a realization that so Savannah's very OCD. And as you could tell on the video that on Instagram that we were watching the other morning, where she went live, she's very OCD in what she does. But we also have an independent contractor that works for us that does similar work to her, but she does it differently.
Yeah.
And so when she was in training, Savannah would come home and she's like, she doesn't do it like me, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe she does it differently, but as long as you get the same result. And so, it's I feel like with these things you have to have a give and take with all of them. To be a great leader, you have to have a give and take and you have to possess a little bit of all of them.
Yeah, I agree. Um, especially being like in the creative industry, and I would definitely say that that is something that is in the creative industry. It's not something that everybody can do. Um, I think it's a very great talent to have. But there's definitely many ways to do it. It's just like tattooing. There's so many different styles of tattooing. There's no right or wrong. Well, there's wrong ways to tattoo, but there's no like one method is better necessarily. And I
Comes down to preference.
it's preference, but I definitely could see how people could be all three of these. And like these are, like I said, these aren't the only methods that I found. None of them are necessarily right or wrong, but they're just the more popular ones. And kind of look at what you said, Delph. Is there's no like one size fit all like leadership style. Different methods work for various situations, businesses, projects, and you got to kind of just consider like the pros and cons of each style and kind of just make your own leadership like your leadership skill and how you lead to drive like your team or your business into success. Like I think for you, Savannah, like you're probably gonna want to be that kind of like step back collaborative approach, especially in your beginning stages of expanding. That way, your employees trust you with their creativeness, and that you can also trust them.
Right. No, I completely agree.
Yeah. What you touched on something earlier I'd like to touch on, Shane, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. This is we're actually we're in free space right now. I've hit everything I really wanted to talk about, so the only thing left is whenever we decide we're ready to end this up, I'll have some stats to drop. But right now, this is kind of like open floor.
So you mentioned earlier, well, you asked earlier, like what kind of employees that she's looking for,
Yeah,
because that was the whole point of the news today. And he even asked, how we were paying. And the thing about it is like we don't, we're not really looking for an employee.
yeah,
Like we're looking for somebody who knows what they're doing,
Mhm.
has leadership qualities of their own, and kind of wants to work for their own. Like, so we're not doing hourly wages. We're doing independent contractors, which gives you a chance to, create your own kind of space. And then we're doing commission based, so it's a matter of how many clients you want to bring in, how often you want to work situation.
Okay,
Um,
so essentially, so not to cut you off, so essentially you're kind of like renting out the space in a sense.
mhm.
But you're kind of trying to get like I would assume people that fit like the mold of Ivy and Grace though,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
because they are going to be essentially working under the name.
Yes, but as far as personality types, like we don't just want an employee. Like we want somebody that takes pride in it and considers it
Yeah, they're
part of their own as well. You know.
yeah their passion, their craft.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't just want to like, hey, here's $12 an hour, do this. You want somebody that wants
Sleep with
to.
doors.
Yeah, you want. I get it. Yeah, no, I totally get that. You guys like literally just want like-minded people that can come into the business and to create a positive note for Ivy and Grace.
Yeah, it's like we're offering a place of employment or to be employed at, but really, I think more than anything, we're trying to create an atmosphere and an experience, not just for customers, but for the employees as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fantastic idea. Um, just because it kind of it shows that you are trying to be a leader, and also in the community too. Like that's gonna set a different standard for just businesses as a whole. Um, and I'm like super small business. Like I will support a small business over a big business 9 times out of 10. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know if you were in the group chat when we were talking about the whole B Dubs thing and Hire going to different work in a different place. But
Again, I think we finished that conversation and I left,
yeah,
but just continuing.
you know, it's just to me like corporate jobs. You never find. I don't ever see like. I never go to like a a B Dubs or an Applebee's and I look at a manager and be like, that's a fucking leader right there. But you go into
That's
these,
what I want to do.
but you go into these
Yeah,
mom and pop places or these small businesses, and the owners are always there.
yeah,
They're people that are their managers are always there because they're like leaders, you know. Uh, when I started at the car wash, the two owners that were easily millionaires. Like I know for a fact they were millionaires. They didn't have to be at their stores every single day, but they were at their sites every single day, day in and day out, doing something. And I'm like, that's a fucking leader right there. You know,
yes.
it's just crazy to me.
It would be like I don't think that. Let's say Ivy and Grace reaches 5 locations across the state or nation, however you want to word it.
Well, it's going
Right.
to.
Let's just
It's
say,
it will. It will. Yeah.
yeah. I'll speak it out. I'll take that. But let's say that we've got 5 locations. You
Absolutely.
know, I don't think that Savannah would ever not go in to take clients. Like I don't think that she would ever just be the face.
Mhm.
I don't think she's got that in her because she's passionate about it, and she's so passionate about it that like she's there every day. She's there when other cars aren't in the parking lot. Like,
Yeah,
and
I
I think
drive
that's
to
where
an
the yeah,
empty parking lot and I go home to an empty parking lot.
that's just what it takes. That's passion. That's drive.
Yeah, and and with something like that, and when you guys do get to that point, and you're making that first million, uh, you are gonna have to step away probably from that everyday role. But of course, obviously, you're gonna go in there and do what you love.
Yeah.
But your price tag on your head, and what your value will be at that point will be just it's gonna be a different kind of thing. I mean, of course, you guys will have an awesome marketing team and everything that you guys need to take care of when it comes to that kind of thing. So obviously, doing what you do like as a passion, never give that up. But yeah, you guys have any like little last topics you guys want to talk about?
Let's talk about
Obviously pertaining to this. um
well, let's talk about what your leadership's going to look like as far as creating your NFT project and things that you're looking forward to creating.
yeah. So I talked about it a little bit
How
earlier.
are you going to lead that into fruition?
Yeah, actually, so I'm actually gonna do a podcast on NFTs in general, but so this is gonna be kind of like a teaser for everybody, and I guess kind of like a you hear it first, but not a whole lot of people know about the project, probably less than 10 people, and that's including friends and family. Um, but what I'm doing is if you guys are familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk, he kind of spearheaded this NFT thing. He's not the founder, or he's not the visionary, but he's definitely made NFTs what they are. Dude's fucking a genius marketer. I put Gary V and the Logan Paul and Jake Paul as my top three people when it comes to marketing and entrepreneurship. So what I want to do with my NFTs is I want to help the small people. So I actually just landed I have two artists now. So we're about to go into phase two of this NFT. Um, so what I'm going to do is like each artist is going to have their own little spin on their artwork, and I want to attach a service to it. So it's going to be a cool piece of little digital art, kind of like these little guys you see here, something like that on the campaigner thing. And then on the service is going to be, for example, and I wish I could do it for you guys, and I'm still trying to figure this out how I could actually do this. But I'm gonna use Ivy and Grace as an example. But basically, you buy the digital NFT, you own that for as long as you want that, and you could sell it down the road. I'm not gonna get too deep in the NFTs, but attached to that would be a service for eyebrows or whatever they wanted from the boutique, or maybe a one-on-one little 60-minute session with Savannah, and she could teach them, or it would have to be something that I work with the artist. We have a good friend of ours, Cody Hennemeyer, aka Il Henny Henny Pops. He does music production. He's gonna be one of my NFTs where you'll get 1 hour with him in the digital studio for him to produce you a beat, teach you how to use FL Studio, whatever that may be. And I am not taking big profits from this. No one's really going to be taking big products, but my goal is if the person tells me that their service is $100, that they take 80% of that, I'm going to take 10% of it, and my artist is going to take 10% of it. Now, for my artist, they're going to receive 90% of their revenue, and I'm only going to take 10%. And then there's going to be a service attached to everything, but I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, man, I got this NFT, and if you spend $10,000 on it, you can fucking hang out with Kanye. No, Kanye West doesn't need no more clout. Ivy and Grace needs clout. They need marketing. Il Henny needs marketing. These mom and pop stores need marketing. These kids that are trying to make it in the UFC need marketing. You know what I mean? They need this stuff. So what I'm trying to do is create a obviously something for me, but for smaller people. And that's kind of been what we've all been trying to do with Lime Time, but I'm bringing that to a higher little thing than just, man, I see those little eye movements on camera. I see y'all. But no, I'm trying to bring it. I'm trying to be a leader and bring that to like a higher echelon of things. And so that's what I'm trying to do when I get done with school. Is I'm trying to create a one-stop marketing agency where we all are there for you. So if you walk in and you're like, "Hey, I need a photographer, I need a videographer, and I need a graphic designer," and I'm like, "Well, hold on one second. Turn around. My team's right here." But you feel like the same. You talk about, Savannah, you want your customers to feel like family, and like, it's a good environment. That's the same thing when you walk into my office. We're not going to be wearing suits. We're probably going to be playing ping pong and shooting basketball and having a good time. You can come in a suit if you want. I don't know what my marketing I don't know what my marketing company is going to need, like people to do embalmings, but we might. So I could use you.
Eventually they will.
Yeah, I could. We might be able to market that, but So to answer your question, I'm really just trying to make a name for myself, but to like bring people along with me. But like I told you, when I thought of this NFT project and I kind of first announced it in our group chat, like the train's leaving, the train's going. Um, I got 3 more podcasts ready to rock and roll that I just got to keynote out. I'm gonna keep releasing these podcasts. I probably try to do like one every week. This NFT project is gonna be in phase 2, starting tomorrow. Um, dude, I'm just
I'm excited for you.
dude. I got a lot of things that I'm just like, you know what? One of these will take off. I just, I post on TikTok frequently. I post on Clapper frequently. I actually just posted a sweet TikTok today. I'm gonna see if I can show it on screen.
Clapper, isn't that what we're doing later?
Clapper is where it's at, but this is my Father's Day. Let's see if we can get this on screen. Oh, you guys can't see it because, well, I'm on a different camera.
Say goodbye.
I'm
You
just
come back.
checking.
Okay, be careful.
But so yeah, that is that's kind of what I'm feeling. I definitely would like to thank you guys for joining me on this. Savannah, Cody. I know she just walked away.
She's checking on the.
Oh, she's good. So I'm going to give you a little bit of stats, and then I'll let her come up here so we can close it out. So 71% of employees believe that their leaders do not spend enough time communicating goals and plans. I find that really interesting because I wouldn't say that they're leaders. Like, I'll say like managers. When I say communicating goals and plans, like someone will just be like, hey, bro, go move those pallets to the C square. And you're like, what the fuck's the squeeze square? And you're like, oh, yeah, you know. So that's an interesting stat right there. 4 to 5 employees surveyed wanted to hear more frequently from the boss on how the company is doing. I know
I
that.
thought that one was really interesting.
Yeah, well, you know, and I want to know what's going on in for the company I'm working with. Like, are we doing well? Am I going to keep my job?
I'm investing energy. I would like to know where it's going.
Yeah.
Yes.
83% of managers believe they give their employees a voice, while 54% feel as they are voiceless in the workplace. I would probably agree with that. I know when I was a site leader at the car wash, I would always ask my guys like, "Hey, give me some input on me on how I'm doing and like how you feel. Like, do you feel like when you tell me things that I like, take care of it and address it?" And most of them were like, "Yeah." Some of them would be like, "No." Sometimes you kind of feel like I feel like you blow it off, but I know you're busy. But Savannah, Cody, thank you guys so much for joining me on this. I really appreciate it. This was a breath of fresh air compared to my last experience. Picture Pappy, I love you, but you are not a good co-host with me that night, buddy. And that's just keeping it 100. One more time, a shout out to Hot Smoke Barbecue on Instagram. Make sure you guys check them out. Maker's Mark Ambassador Program in 2027. My whiskey will be out in stores. And Mary Jane CBD Dispensary, where you guys can get quality CBD and Delta 8, even on the internet. If you use this, make sure to message me for 30% off with code Shane. You guys have to go through me, though. You can't go on the internet because, well... And a special shout out if you guys hear this and you guys need some services to make you feel like $1 million and you're in Lexington or Danville, Kentucky. Make sure you guys check them out. Check them out on Instagram as well and Facebook. You guys have any other social media? Instagram's Facebook, right?
Just Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, yeah. Make sure you guys check them out. Ivy and Grace Brow Boutique.
Thank you.
I will be tagging them and in all the descriptions of these videos when I release it, as well as the clips that I release for videos. I hope that you guys really enjoy this podcast and my thoughts and the Dell family's thoughts on leadership and management and what it just means to us. If you guys have any questions or would like to reach out to me, please feel free to do so. I'm very approachable. I will be teaching some leadership marketing classes and other things with my man Henny Records in his Discord as well. So feel free to reach out to me if there's something you think you want to do. And I'm always available for any kind of marketing strategies that you guys might need help with. I do websites, I do logos, marketing, whatever you name it. If I can't do it, I'll figure it out, or I'll find somebody that can do it. That I have a pretty good network of people. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys check me out on all my social medias at It's That One Guy Shane. And until next time, hopefully next week, I love y'all. Stay fucking golden.